have touched the pad. Everybody in the world fused. Yeah. Morning crew, and welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. I thought I'd bring you along on another day here in the workshop. A little bit different. We're not fixing any vehicles, cars, motorcycles or anything. We did a pretty big stint getting Tool Girl Lily's farm bike up and running. About 7 hours of footage covering the repairs and of course Lily's final test ride of their bike out in the field. So much fun. Had a great time doing that day, having that day with Lily. Now, it's about time, really, that I spent these Christmas holidays, and I've got until the 13th, well, the last day will be the 12th of January, the Sunday, off work. So I've got another 2 weeks, and it really is time that I get some more of these steel beams made, because the wall down the middle of the workshop is a real pain in the ass. Although, it is quite useful when I come to do some spraying or shot blasting. As you can see there's some cardboard screwed up on the timber to keep all the shot from the clean side of the workshop. Obviously I can't do that in the future, so I have to think about maybe getting a container or something to do any kind of painting or shot blasting, that kind of thing, completely out of the workshop, because it makes it absolutely filthy in here. It's horrible. It takes ages to get the place clean again. Way too much waffle. Okay, let's go make some stuff. Right, first job, I need to make one more of these underslung plate things that go underneath the longitudinal beams. So let's grab some steel stock and get that made up. Job done. That's those two plates all drilled up to 12 mil in diameter for all those holes, and of course the burring removed too. So what's next? Jeez. Okay, well, between the feet of the transverse beam where it goes onto the vertical beam, we have some packer plates. Now these packer plates are designed so that I can get the beams absolutely true to each other, so they're all bang in line, which means that the longitudinal beam that's just above me here that runs along the workshop should be, in theory, dead level. And the idea of that is when it's carrying a load on the winch, of course there's no thrust on that winch. It can just sit and be moved around quite easily. You're not basically pushing the winch on the rollers uphill, or even worse, it runs away on you going downhill. And it's amazing how even the smallest gradient can cause that problem. So I need a ton of these. Now looking at that beam over there, number one, the first one at the far end, there's probably about maybe 5 packing plates at each end. So there's 10. And on this beam, this doesn't have any, which is fantastic. Wow. So that was the first beam to go up, was beam number 2, believe it or not. I know, don't ask. Numbering system, weird, isn't it? Okay, so I reckon we should make probably 20 of these plates, these little packer plates. So I'll get them all cut, drill some more holes, and then hopefully we can start welding. And I've got a brand new welding helmet and a new lance for the MIG. Can't wait. Right, that brings me to the end of today, day 2, making these beams. So how far do we get? Well, oh man, I got all those spaces made up. I got 16 made in the end. I decided to go for 16 rather than 20 because I didn't have to break into a new length. I can always make some more up if I need them. Chances are I'll probably end up with some surplus. And we've got a template for those now, which is good. And what else do we make? Oh yes, made 2 of these. Well, I made one yesterday and just finished the drilling off today. I made the other one today. That was the yesterday one, I think, given the fact it's so shiny. That one there, look, bloody good. So it's like a giant Meccano kit, isn't it? It's great fun. It's nice not to have to be designing it anymore and just basically making the bits and assembling it all. Should be a lot quicker. Right, I've got to sign off a bit early because I've got a couple of hinges to make now, so I can actually secure the workshop for tonight. See you in the morning. I'm back! It's the next day. In fact, it's New Year's Eve, believe it or not. So today's going to be a short day because there's bound to be lots of alcohol involved this evening. But I got up really early and I spent 4 hours editing part of the Rescue Charlotte video. I did. And I was highly disappointed by one of the dash cam sections. The footage had disappeared. Anyway, I'll see what I can do. Okay, so this morning got into the workshop finally, and yesterday I made the hinge to replace, where is it? I don't know. Threw it away. Replace one of the original hinges, which had basically ripped out of the wood. There was nothing left of the wood, of the wooden frame. The door is going to get replaced at some point with a nice big steel door, and security bolts that I'm going to make and proper hinges and that kind of thing. But for now, I had to just, oh, wait for it. Oh, I sneeze. For now, I just had to sort of bodge it up. So I'll show you in a second. But we had a flood in the kitchen. That's right. Well, the utility room actually. The washing machine decided to spring a leak, and it was a perished hose. So that's fixed now as well. Okay, I'll show you the hinge that I made and a bit of bonus footage. Here we go. Right, there you go. Look, the hinge. How cool is that? It's pretty good. And hopefully the camera will show everything. So that's not bad, I thought, for a quick job. Sort of quick job anyway. But close the door. Oh look, I'll use my new handle to shut the door. Look at that. It's not a Teng Tools spanner, it's a Guido, Germany. Now there will be some people in the comments will say, why did you drill holes in a perfectly good spanner? I know, and I asked myself exactly the same question, but I did need a handle and I thought it'd be quite cool. And it's a 26 mil. I never use a 26 mil. So we did the hinge, made a handle so I can shut the door properly. I might even put a bolt on the inside just to keep it shut because it doesn't shut that well. I have a spare bolt somewhere, I might do that next. Right, back to the bench. Okay, so yesterday we pretty much got all the last of the plates and the drilling all done, so now I can make a start actually assembling, start of day 3, assembling the first beam. But I've made enough of the plates to do beams 3 and 4, so hopefully I can really crack on. The only thing that I've not made yet is the leg that goes, or cut any steel for the leg that goes on top of the right hand wall over that side, and I haven't made these little triangle things that go up on the beam up there, and those really are to allow me to clip things to the beam, whatever I want in the future. It just gives me some little mounting points, plus it's really handy to hang the beams up when I'm spraying them. It is. Okay, I don't know how much I'm going to film today. I've got a massive headache and I've still got a sore throat, but I will try and endeavour to do a few bits and pieces as we go along. Right, let's get to it. Man, it's a hot day today. Okay, so that's all 4 beams, 4 halves cut. Now, I made a management decision before I cut the second of the 6 meter lengths and decided, because, oh man, this is heavy, I only have 1 pair of joining plates at the moment, because like a dullard I didn't order 2 sets. I've decided to make 1 beam after all, and then I can use the other I-beam to do the longitudinal beam between the transverse beam 2, which is already up. That's the one you can see there. 1's behind the camera. So number 3 beam will be up. That's the one I'm going to make. Put the longitudinal beam in. That part of the wall can come out, and then I've got enough of an I-beam left to go right to the end of the garage, just where the two doors are, and put a post, a short post off the concrete wall, right at the end of the garage, up to support the last end of the longitudinal beam, the final one, which means that I can take out all of the wall except for about maybe 200 millimeters. I call that a major success of what I've got. And then I can make up beam number 4 at my own leisure and have more space in the workshop, and then take out that final leg, which isn't that much extra work, install beam 4, cut down the final longitudinal beam so it fits and joins the transverse beam, and we're all good. So it's not over yet, is it? There's still lots of work to do. Well, that took some levelling up. What a nightmare. It's all ready for welding now though. Best just double check. Beep 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 beep. Right, now the other one. That'll do just fine, Gromit. Looks pretty well lined up to me. God, I do like doing these beams. So much fun. Ah, 153 millimeters from the end plate. Accuracy is always my forte. Geez, bloody hay fever, honestly. One, two, three. There we go, double check. That'll do for the girls that I run with. Right. Still a bit hot from welding, to be honest, but we'll get there. Now, from here to the next one is, where's my magic? There we are, 350. Okay, so I've got to measure 350 from there back. There we go. Job's a carrot. Right, according to my previous calculations, the gap we need to cut out, the slither, is 10.8 millimeters wide, and that will give us an angle of 4.1 degrees, I believe, on that particular beam. Yes, there we are, look, 4.1 degrees. But we'll cut out to 11 mil because we're not that accurate. Holy moly, my eyesight's terrible these days. I really struggle. Right, 5, that's 6, so we want 5.5 either side. So, start of the scribe. That should be about 11 mil. That's pretty good to me. Doesn't really matter too much because don't forget it's going to fill the weld anyway, and you want a little bit of a gap for the weld to go in. I've really got to sharpen this scribe rough. That'll be my next job. Look at that. We're up to, yeah, about 11 mil. Cool. Right, that's one side. And one cut. Let's get it all marked up. Jeez, it's still really hot. Right, so 5.5 either side of the line with a sharp scriber. There's 5. 5.5. 5.5. Looks pretty good. And you should always use the start of the scribe line as your reference point. That's that one. Oh, it's got a few gaps in it there. It's really hard, the coating on this steel for some reason. A lot harder than the last lot. Yeah, that's about 11 mil. Perfect. massive clamps. Hopefully the batteries are still good. Pretty good to me. Give the old screen a bit of a clean. Jeez, it's so dusty in here. Right, let's see what it says. Look at that! That's brilliant! 0.05 of a degree out. That'll do me, Gromit. We're about in the middle, aren't we, there? Coolio. Well, 4.1 degrees again. So 4.1, so we're 0.5 degrees out. That'll do, won't it, eh? Quite happy at that. Man, it's almost tea time. I have a confession. I've been editing this morning all the footage over the last 4 days of fabrication work on these beams. And I got to a point where this video really has got to a natural end point where these beams are now finished, and I didn't do a piece to camera. I was just cracking on and getting the job done, so my apologies. So here is the end of that episode 5. During this video we've put together an entire beam, the two halves, you know, all the cutting, welding, measuring, angles, lots of grinding, man. That's where all the dust comes from, isn't it? So hopefully you enjoyed this video. The next video, the footage is already in the can. I've had Ben here, my eldest lad, only lad actually I should say that, on site for the last couple of days. We had some work to do on his ute, and he helped me to test fit that beam, hence why all the cardboard now has been taken away. If you look carefully, there's actually a missing vertical wooden post that's been taken out. The beam has been test fit. If you look really carefully, ooh, no, there's a light in the way, you can't see. I've actually welded on the foot. You'll see that in the next video. Welded on the foot onto the third steel pole, ready, you know, obviously to accept that beam. We fitted the beam, test fit it, tacked in where the feet need to be, got everything aligned properly and stuff. And now, can you see that? It's on the, one of the beams is back on the hoist here to have the foot welded on proper. That's where I'm up to at the moment with the footage. So if you enjoyed this video, then why not click on the subscribe button? You'll see a little gear icon turn up. Click on the gear icon and then tick the box. Turn on notifications, and our friends at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. Just ring the bell if you're on a smart device. I've tried to edit this video up very, very differently to how I normally edit videos. I've been pretty conscious that some of my videos recently have been extremely long. Now, some of that was deliberate. Some of it just sort of happened. And yes, I could have chopped them down to a number of different episodes. And given the feedback that I've been getting, some like the long videos, some don't like the long videos. It's so difficult to please everybody. And editing up a long video like that, a 2.5 hour video, that's a hell of a lot of work. But obviously, it only takes the same amount of time, really, as knocking it out into, or splitting it up into sort of 4 or 5 different episodes, or 4 or 3 or whatever. But I just wanted to get the Rescue Charlotte videos finished because it's a new year. That was, you know, a few months ago now, and I wanted to move on. Now, what else on this one? You'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals. There's also a Patreon page all about the history of the channel, up and coming projects, and of course the profiles of all the gorgeous tool girls. And Tool Girl Lily will be back in the next few weeks, and Tool Girl Holly is back also a couple of weeks time, I think. So it's all go in the Andy Mechanic workshop. Want to get this sort of fabrication stuff done, and maybe not painted the beams, but at least all the fabrication side of it's done before they're back in the shop. Now, there's also a PayPal icon on the home page in the banner, top right. You can click on that and you can use that to purchase an Andy Mechanic 2020 Tool Girl calendar, and there's videos in the archives on that, on how to go about purchasing that. And also, if you want to flick through a donation, got quite a few patrons coming through the system now, and it's great to have them on board. Any donations that come through are greatly appreciated, and the money is spent in the workshop doing the beams, doing projects, buying vehicles, buying equipment and so on, so I can keep bringing you these videos. Okay crew, well, Happy New Year to everybody. It is now well and truly 2020. It's going to be a great year for Andy Mechanic, I know that. Cheers crew, over and out. And we get the pick up again. Oh. Yes.